We've had a great series with Altamise. She is fabulous. She knows so much, and she's going to teach you so many things today. And Altamise, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. We have been lovely, amazing partners with SCORE for a few years now. So if you have been a part of these webinars with me in the past, you know this is an ongoing dialogue and conversation. So do not hold your questions until the end. Doesn't work that way with me. And if you are new to experiencing our series, thank you so much for joining us. And again, this is a dialogue. So I want to make sure as I'm going through the presentation, if you have any questions, I'm checking the Q&A box. I'm checking chat as well, but please make sure they're in the Q&A box, just to make sure that as you have those ideas that come in your mind, we can address them and talk about them. Because chances are, if you're having that thought and you have that question, there's someone else there's someone else that has the same question or concern. So let's go ahead and get started. So next slide. Okay, so on the agenda today, we're going to talk about the user landscape of social media. So, what's all out there currently, and, how you can essentially leverage social media to cultivate a community for yourself, as well as things to consider about social. The difference between content creation and engagement. This is a really big one, near and dear to my heart. The differences between proactive outreach versus reactive. And then we're actually going to provide you with an example of a response matrix that we use with clients of ours to help them cultivate and prioritize community management on the various platforms. And then we'll share some key takeaways with you. Just to make sure that anything top of mind, you kind of know what you need to take away from this presentation to implement. All right, so the user landscape of social media. Some of these social media platforms you may have never heard of in your life, but there are a lot of social media platforms out now, but there are some that are most notable. For example, Facebook. People I have heard probably within like the last couple of weeks that someone said, oh, no one cares about Facebook. No one's on there. That's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Even Gen Z is on Facebook. They just use it differently, and they use it for their friends. I mean, for their family members that are older and all of that, but they are there. They have a presence. So it's still one of the largest. And as you can see, the largest. Facebook actually owns WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, and I'm trying to see if there's anything else on here that they own. There isn't, but they also own Oculus. And they have another platform called Audience Network. That's more on the advertising side. But those are under the Meta umbrella, which used to be called Facebook Inc. And YouTube owns Google, or Google owns YouTube. Google owns YouTube. And Google is a part of Alphabet Inc. So that's their holding company. WhatsApp for US users, it is pretty, I would say average. It's not, people don't talk about WhatsApp a lot in the States. However, internationally, WhatsApp is huge. It's one of the main platforms that people utilize rather than texting. So for example, my team is international. We actually use WhatsApp for business, and we have different groups based off of, different priorities or different clients. And it has been truly phenomenal in helping us to kind of formulate structure and communication with each other, as well as with the clients, making sure we stay on top of things. So WhatsApp is really, really great. And there is a WhatsApp for business. So there is a component to building a relationship with your customers on WhatsApp. Instagram, everybody knows Instagram. Messenger. WeChat is kind of like a competitor to WhatsApp. So it's like a data-based text messaging system. TikTok. So TikTok is the Chinese-based development app that is about entertainment and all that great stuff. So you can do a lot of great things. However, caveat, just want to, I have to disclose this as well, that there are some data privacy concerns with TikTok because the API is open, which technically means hackers don't have to hack. They can just go in. If you've seen TikTok in the news lately about potentially being banned, or states saying that they no longer, they have banned the app for use for any government employees and all of that stuff, that is why there's no data protection with that platform. But it's still a very prominent platform in the States for us. And I would highly encourage you, when you get this presentation, click this link below for the source of this, because it really dives into all of these platforms and how they are used and the differences, how people approach them. And that will definitely help you kind of figure out like how to communicate with people on the platforms. Perfect. All right, next slide. Okay, so things to consider about social media. Okay, so I know as business owners, and I always tell business owners, you have to definitely think of social media from a lens of business, not the lens of personal. But the personal aside, when you realize that there are 2.9 billion active monthly unique users on the platform, and from a business perspective, if you have a solution to a specific need or a market problem, etc., there are 2.9 billion people using that need your message. So whatever the personal feelings are, as a business owner, we gotta have to put those to the side to prioritize reaching our people and connecting to our people. They were originally created to connect, for connectivity. They were not created for business owners. But that's why it's so beautiful and so amazing when you kind of tap into community management, engaging with your community, talking with them, that you really create strong advocates on the platform that will speak up for your brand, tell people about your brand, share your content, and, essentially buy from you. The social media platforms, when originally created, started out solely focused on connectivity, putting like-minded people with other like-minded people so we can connect and share our likeness and our like-minded interests, behaviors, etc. together. So with that in mind, as business owners, I know we do have a product or a service that we want to sell. However, we always have to keep that relationship first and foremost in that process on social media. That is why, brands that solely focus on sales, they don't get it. They don't get it. You have to focus on that relationship. Engagement on the platforms, it isn't necessarily equivalent to followers. So one of the main things we often hear when we have clients that come to us about social media and ROI from social media, there's a huge focus on follower growth. There's how can I get more followers? How can I do this? And here's a really hard reality that I'm going to say, because I care about you guys and I want you to succeed. If you have a community of 100 people and you only care to get more people, rather than focusing on the 100 people that you have that have already opted into your message, into your profile, into your content, we need to shift perspective, because you have to take care of the current community that you have and making sure that they feel heard, they feel seen, they feel connected, and then the additional followers will come. But it's really important to take care of the people that you already have. So that's why we encourage business owners and our clients and partners to focus on the impact, focus on the message that you're giving, focus on what you are providing, focus on insight, focus on, all of those things. Because if you have 100 followers and you get a conversion rate of 20%, And they're not just one-time sales. They are actual customers. They're actual clients. That's a pretty good win. That's a pretty good win. So it's really important to just remember there's so much more than just followers and follower growth on the platform. It really is about the communication and the impact and the conversations that you are having with people beyond just the post going out. So that's definitely something that you want to consider in creating and cultivating an engaged community on social. Right, next slide.
Altamise, I
And
have a
before,
question. I have a question back about this
yes,
slide. What I'm surprised that LinkedIn's not on here at all.
yes, yes. It's because of their active monthly unique users.
Okay.
So LinkedIn has a very high affinity for business because that's what it's designed for. But they're still, in a lot of ways, they're still very much in the infancy stage. So like they're still growing, they're still building out in terms of the active monthly
Okay.
users on the platform. But that would be why. And that's something also to consider too, if you're thinking and you have more of a B2B, and that's a great question, Ellen. If you have a more of a B2B clientele, don't roll out Facebook, because on LinkedIn, you're going to get the infinity. You're going to get the affinity of ensuring that you are going directly to your stakeholders, all of that good stuff. Scalability is on Facebook. So you can still do B2B on Facebook, and you just have to approach it a different way, because those stakeholders that are on LinkedIn, they are in the mindset of business. That's what they went to LinkedIn for. On Facebook, their mindset is different. So your messaging has to be different. Your approach has to be different. All these things have to be different. I remember when I worked at a creative agency as a social media director, we had a really big opportunity with an amazing potential client, and we wanted to kind of subconsciously get on their radar before we had our actual pitch call with them. And what we did is we put our brand on an ad for Facebook, not to sell, not to, talk about our numbers or anything. It literally was just pure, like a pure fun ad targeting the employees of that company on Facebook. So by the time we got in, and we also had it on frequency. So that means if you run an ad on Facebook and it's for frequency, they're going to repeat that ad over and over again to the person. It's like a repetition. So they'll continue to see it. Subconsciously, they may be scrolling, but they see it. So by the time we had our pitch meeting with them, one of the people in the meeting was like, I feel like I know you guys. But it was from us running the Facebook ad, and we targeted all the employees at that company, especially the C-suite. So think about it from a different way when you are talking about reaching your B2B audience. And I think, Ellen, you answered the question, but if you are kind of curious, like, what is B2B? Business to business. Because a business to business approach is totally different from a business to consumer approach. So LinkedIn is really, really great for business to business networking, conversion, all of that good stuff. They just have a lower amount of people on the platform per month, but it's still very high when you think about the purpose. So, and great question.
Thank you.
So, of course. So this is near and dear to my heart, because one of the things that kind of makes Azar a little different in terms of our approach is we focus so much on community. We highlight the importance of community, where oftentimes when you think of social media managers and things like that, those individuals, they focus on the design, they focus on the layout of your pictures, they focus on, the strategy of like, okay, these are the best time to post, and this is what you should do. That is all fantastic. Yes, you need that. You need that. But when they post, it's ghost. It go ghost. After the post is out, it's out. It's gone. They're on to the next post. They're like, yes, the post is out. It looks beautiful. looks great on our 9 grid. A 9 grid is your first 9 pictures on Instagram. So a content creator thinks about that 9 grid. So they're like, yes, this looks great on the 9 grid on Instagram, and they're on to the next. When there may be someone who posted a question right under that picture and there's no response. So there is indeed a difference between content creation and engagement. Okay. So for business owners, you know, you gotta make sure that when you hire someone, or if you, even for yourself, when you are thinking about social media and your approach to social, it's twofold. There's going to be, you know, the content creation side and the strategy of it, but also the other side is the community management side. And that's where you cultivate your advocates. That's where, you know, you respond to someone, and other people in your community, they're going to see your response to it, and they make an impression of your brand based off of the response to someone else, not to them. Because not many people will take time to leave a comment or message you or anything like that. So, you know, I learned when I was at Cartoon Network, I was the coordinator for PR. And under that, they didn't know what to do with social media at the time. This was like 2008. No, probably like 2010, somewhere around there. And they didn't know what to do with social. They were just like, it's marketing, it's PR. We don't know. We don't know. And I was often given, I was given social. Like literally, they kind of just like, oh, to me, you want it? And I was like, sure. And through community management, I would oversee over 60,000 comments coming through to Cartoon Network, Boomerang, and Adult Swim, in responding to the parents, the kids, and the audience of Adult Swim, which is very unique. And one thing that was very true is they are a representation. The people who reach out to you, they are a representation of the people who haven't, they may think it, but they're just not going to make the time to respond or comment to a brand. They're going to think that, but they're going to be like, why does it say this? Or I wonder what this means. And they keep scrolling, right? So they are a representation. So we always have to prioritize the community management, okay? So again, for content creation, think about the visual, the branding experience, how people are perceiving the message, the consistency on how often you are posting. That is content creation. But the community management side is how you desire to show up when people ask you questions. How proactively are you with responding to those questions or those comments? When someone says something negative about your brand, how do you handle that? Do you make the post visible? Do you hide those comments? All of that stuff is really, really important. And that's a part of the community management piece. Oh, it says audio is a bit choppy off and on. Okay, hold on. Thank you for letting me know. It's probably my headset. Hold on. Okay, so is it better? If it's better, let me know. I just took my headset off. Okay, so I took my headset off, so it should be a little better. And please let me know if so. So yes, so and then another piece about that is do's and don'ts of communication for your brand. If and when, you should always be prepared to be able to delegate. So, you know, we'll talk about this a little later, but when you are preparing to hire someone or a team to manage your brand and be able to provide community management, social media management, all of these wonderful things, we have to know the do's and don'ts of communication for your brand. Do you talk politics? Do you use profanity? Because some brands do. It's actually encouraged. Do you encourage people to go into DMs privately, or do you just respond directly? Do you hide comments? When do you decide to block someone? How do you handle spam? All of those things help the social media manager and or team to be able to communicate effectively when it comes to the engagement side of your brand. So, yes, so those are the things you got to think about. And then I also put like a little chart here just so you guys can have a visual of like, you know, what those core differences are between being a content creator or social media manager, content manager, and community management. I will tell you all most of the time, if you hire somebody for social media, community management, they don't like that part, right? I'm just going to be honest, they don't like that part. But what hits headlines is Wendy's community manager. That's what hits headlines. That is what always gets it. It's the community management piece of it, not necessarily the content itself. All right, next slide. All right, so as we are talking about community management, there are integral pieces, 2 different pathways to community management, right? So we've already discussed, you know, content creation. You have this beautiful graphic, great messaging, all this great stuff. Don't leave it. Come back and engage, right? But then how do you engage? So proactive outreach is going off of your pages, off of your profiles, and finding your people. That's working the platform for what it was made for in the first place, connectivity. So that's engaging with the hashtags, putting your brand, your actual business in Facebook groups, because you can join a Facebook group as a person, or you can join a Facebook group as a business. Either or. Oftentimes, Facebook groups, you know, the admin team, they can decide if businesses are welcome into the group or not. But if the businesses are welcome into the group, what I would recommend is adding yourself and adding the business. So that way, if you are communicating about the business, you can tag the business and it shows up because the business is a part of the group as well. LinkedIn groups. Join LinkedIn groups, engage there. Make sure that, you know, anytime someone posts on LinkedIn, you are actively engaging, commenting, and all of that great stuff. Because again, that connectivity piece is really, really important. Proactive outreach requires intentional time to connect with your audience. This sounds like a lot because it can be a lot. These are full-time jobs. These are full-time jobs in companies. So like the creative agency that I used to work for, we had social media strategists that actually focused on content creation alone, by like solely content creation. And then we had community managers, and the community managers worked hand in hand with the strategists in terms of making sure they understood the mission and the vision of what that content was. But they were the ones in and out, day in, day out, engaging with the people on the platforms. So these are full-time jobs. So you really have to be intentional with like setting aside or blocking time, saying, okay, between 2 and 3, I'm going to go on every single platform. I'm going to engage with the hashtags that I've used. I'm going to put myself out there on the Facebook groups. I'm going to do some communication in the LinkedIn groups. You're going to have to be intentional with that. Okay. Making sure you have guidance. And I would, again, if you are at a place where you are building your team, this is a requirement. If you are not yet at a place where you are building your team, this is a requirement. Because when it's time for you to build your team and you don't have it, it's like playing catch up. It's like telling them to do the work while you're having to do the work to show them how to do the work. So you want guidance. You want to kind of document guidance on how to respond to different things. Create an FAQ, right? And platforms like Messenger, like Facebook Messenger, it allows auto replies. You can incorporate FAQs into your process for DM. So that way, anything that, you know, seems to be a common question, you can instantly have that response to them. And manage expectations. Manage expectations, okay? Real-time interactions are always best. Always, always, always. The industry best practice when it comes to community management is that people expect a response 2 to 4 hours after they send the message or after they leave the comment. That is standard best practice. But we all know social media is 24 hours a day. So if someone leaves a message, at 12 o'clock in the morning, no one's expecting you to respond back at 4 a.m. or at 2:30 a.m. But that's where you can place like auto replies and say, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. Our team usually responds between these hours. And here's a trick. I always recommend, even if it's a one-person team, you say we. Say we. Create the perception that you are not alone. Create the perception that you are not alone and there are other people looking at these DMs. It minimizes spam. It minimizes, depending upon the brand, retaliation for different things or just weird bullying things. It minimizes because people operate a little differently when they know that, oh, one person isn't just looking at this. There are more people looking at it. So that's something that we highly encourage to all of our clients. Even if you are just one person, communicate as if you are already where you're going, because you're going there and you will have a team. So you say we, and you go ahead and you cultivate that expectation of people of knowing, okay, this is a whole team, this is a full brand, I'm getting a full experience, and I'm going to treat them as such when I reach out. Okay. So reactive outreach is typically what we think of, right? It's the replying to comments on posts. It's answering direct messages. Anything that comes into you, you respond. Those are the reactive things. And it requires pretty much the same thing as the proactive, the intentionality of connecting with your audience and really setting time aside to respond to people. And then also, I mentioned the auto replies. Use those auto replies whenever they are available to you. That helps you to not have to be on your phone or at your computer handling community management instead of focusing on your business and your craft and what you're, why you are on social media and have a business profile to begin with. So like utilize these features to help you kind of leverage the relationships while you're focused on your business at the same time. And then keep in mind the estimated time expectancy and communicate it, right? I actually reached out to a restaurant in Savannah and they utilized the auto replies, and they in their auto reply, it says our business, thank you for reaching out. Our team typically responds within 24 hours. We thank you so much for your patience and we look forward to speaking with you soon. My expectation is not to get a message from them before 24 hours. If I do, fantastic. They have exceeded my expectations. If I don't, they've already set the expectation for me. So I'm not looking for them to respond in a couple hours. So definitely utilize that. All right, before I go to the next slide, any questions? Awesome. This is a quiet group. All right, let's keep going. Ooh, I see a hand raised. I see a hand raised from Donald.
Yeah,
hey,
Donald, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just, Don, can you put your question in the Q&A box for us, please?
Lovely. And anybody else, feel free to put those questions in the Q&A box. So I mentioned that I was going to show a response matrix and what that looks like. This is an example of a response matrix that we have built out with one of our clients. A response matrix is pretty much kind of how it sounds. It's just a place where we house any and all responses. This document is never final, ever. It is a constant evolving work in progress style type of document. We have, like, if you see at the bottom, you see main response response matrix. So that's where we would include any FAQs, any questions that have come up that we've had to go to the client to say, hey, how do you want us to respond to this? So that way we don't have to keep asking the client over and over, how should we respond? We just document it. And then we have questions or partnerships. If they, this client had a specific partnership relationships for influencers. So we had a section for that. Fan sentiment, like good, bad, ugly, indifferent. You want to, this document should be as transparent as possible. So that way, anytime someone comes in to help, they know how to respond. Oh, Camille, I see a question. Okay. Altamise, what if you find yourself bombarded with people asking to be a part of their groups? How do you say no to good offers, but you only cannot take all of them? I find it too overwhelming. So I'm assuming this is where people are inviting you to be a part of their groups. So let's talk about Facebook groups for a minute. So Facebook groups, they are very different from business pages on purpose. So Facebook groups, their intentionality is designed for communication and community. They're groups, so they're all about community. A business page can advertise on the platform. They can say, hey, I want to boost the post, I want a sponsored post, all that good stuff. Communities, Facebook groups cannot, because they're assuming you have cultivated a community of people who are like-minded. You don't have to run ads. You don't have to do that. So groups cannot do that. Business pages can, right? Facebook groups, now they can notify everybody by just doing an at everyone. And literally it notifies everybody in that group of whatever that message is. And that's because Facebook is assuming if it's a group, they want to know. They have opted in. They have said, yes, I want to be a part of this. So you have more liberty in a Facebook group to cultivate a community of like advocacy and like have people engage and talk and things like that. On a business page, business pages on a good day with organic content can reach 1 to 5% of their current audience, not new people, current. Because you're at the mercy of the algorithm. You're at the mercy of when someone's on their phone. You're at the mercy of, you kind of have to track your insights in terms of when your people are most engaged, so you can kind of follow them when they are most engaged, so you get the most visibility for your platform. Facebook groups, total opposite. Total opposite. So when people are inviting you to the groups, because there are two ways. You can either request to join, or you can be invited. So Camille, it sounds like you're being invited to a lot of groups. This is where it is okay to implement like your like creating a core value checklist type of thing. If it's for your business, a core, like is it aligned with what we're doing, right? Are my customers or my clients or those I want to connect with or potential partners, are they a part of the group? If the answer is no, you don't join. If the answer is yes, you join, right? And if you join them, everything is customizable. Everything is customizable in this space. So you can actually join a group and then turn off notifications. So Camille, if that's the place, you're like, oh, I kind of want to know what's going on, but I don't want to be notified every single time. You just go into your group settings for that specific group and you turn off those notifications, right? You can turn off notifications for the group itself, for people in the group, or for posts. Or you could do the exact opposite. You can turn on notifications for a specific post. So like, you know how like people say, like if someone posts a question and someone types in following, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to say following. You can just hit the 3 dots in the corner and say, notify me. Like, and anyone who responds, it will be notified. You'll be notified in Facebook in the notifications that someone said something on there. So you don't even have to say following anymore. So it goes both ways. So you can either join the group turn off notifications, take it through a checklist of saying, does this align with my business, my strategy, my people? If it does, I would recommend you join and then just turn those notifications off. But if it doesn't, decline it. You don't even need an explanation. No is a complete sentence, and it is a beautiful one. Just decline it. And even then, they don't get notified that you declined it. So if you say decline, it's not going to go back to the admin or whoever invited you and say, hey, Camille didn't accept, doesn't say a word. You can just go on with your life. So yes, but groups are really good. So if it does align, I would recommend you join. Okay. So it says, mine was a comment on guidance. I want to use my top 3 priorities. Okay, so Donald, if you can kind of expand and like go in a little bit more in terms of, your top 3 priorities and how you want to discuss those. And absolutely, Camille, absolutely. And when you think of like groups, so on Facebook and LinkedIn has groups as well. You have groups. So those are active groups isolated into, a specific area. But there are new features. So some of those new features include subscriptions. So in groups now, groups can charge monthly subscriptions, 99 cents, $4.99 a month, something like that. Groups can do that. And this is primarily for Facebook. Again, LinkedIn is more on they're learning. So a lot of the stuff that Facebook has mastered, LinkedIn is currently implementing. So, when you think of it, LinkedIn's platform is going to be a little bit behind when it comes to certain things versus like Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. It's going to be a little different. So for Facebook groups, depending upon if you have a Facebook group, and if this feature is available to you, it's not available to all Facebook groups yet, but it's in the works. They're putting it out in phases. You can have it subscription based, where they pay 99 cents a month. They can pay $5.99 every 3 months, whatever you set up, and that will give them access to your group. On Instagram, it's called paid subscriptions. So paid subscriptions are often available to creators, not the businesses. And the reason being is because, let's say you are the face of your brand, and I'll use myself as an example of this, okay? On Instagram, we technically, for Azar, there are 2 presences. Like there are 2 presences available. Presence. You guys get me. There are 2. The Azar agency has their own profile. It's a business profile. And then you have I'm gonna clear this out. You have mine, Ultimis Nicole. Okay, Ultimis Nicole is a creator page. I signed up. I created my profile as a creator, so I switched over. And then Azar is a business profile. As Ultimis Nicole, as a creator, I can have paid subscriptions. So I can have a firewall. Like, of course, you'll see my profile. You can see all my stuff on my page as normal. But then I would have another tab for people who have subscribed to opt in to exclusive content. And they would just pay a certain percentage or a certain monetary amount a month. And that is a way to kind of incentivize additional engagement in groups, additional engagement on the platform as an influencer, as a content creator on the platform. And then there's also a new feature. I don't know if you guys have seen this. If you are not following the Instagram creators account, you should be. And the Instagram creators account literally is @creators. That's it. You should follow that on Instagram because they give all types of great tips. They share new features. They share all types of stuff. Some of the things are only available to content creators. Some of the things are available to everybody. So it's just good to be a part of that. But one of the additional features that Instagram is adding is message groups, DM groups. So if you're on Instagram, the Facebook group version would be Messenger, DM groups. So they just kind of launched that out. I'm actually a part of their beta program on the creator side. So they added me into the creators in IG group, which is a big DM message. But they're testing it out to see, you know, how it works. Does it feel a certain way? Are people able to keep up with the comments? Because it technically is in a direct message. But that's, you know, that's Instagram's version of Facebook groups, and they're testing it out. So a lot of really great things coming up. Let's see. And Donald, I'm still waiting to get some more insight on your question. Okay, perfect. So we have like 15 minutes, and I want to be respectful of time. So going back to the response matrix, at the bottom where you see those tabs, that is where you can kind of create some organizational structure to the topics, to, you know, any priorities that you guys have. If, you know, we have a client that has a conference coming up in like a week. So on her response matrix, we have something specific to the conference. So that way, any questions about, hey, where do I sign up? How do I get my hotel? All these things, that's a part of the response matrix. So that way, anybody on the team who's doing community management, even if somebody is out of the office and someone has to step in to help, they can easily go to this response matrix and say, okay, this is how I respond. Now, I encourage my team not to just copy and paste, because the human to human connectivity is so important. You don't want to feel like someone didn't take the time to just acknowledge your name or say hello or anything like that. So you don't want to just copy and paste, but the skeleton, the structure of whatever that answer is, it's there. So create a response matrix, build that out, even if you don't have a team yet. And this will probably help you out too, if you're on the go and you got to respond, but you're just like, I don't want to respond, like, you know, and have to type it out on my phone or whatever. You can literally just go to the response matrix, pull it out, paste it into the message, edit it a little bit as needed, press send. It's great. Helps you out a lot. And let's see here. Any questions so far? I think I saw someone's hand raised and then it went down. I just want to make sure. Okay, I'm having issues with voice. Yes. So brand, voice, and tone. When giving guidance, I give priorities, customer service, complaints. And number 3 probably is something else versus number 1. Okay, so brand, voice, and tone, when it comes to your community management, it really matters. One of the hesitations when it comes to when you hire someone to handle social media and community management, one of the hesitations when it comes to community management is making sure they respond to people in a way that the brand desires, right? In the way that the owner desires. We don't ever want to respond and we don't ever want to respond as ourselves. That sounds really weird. We want to respond as the brand, because people are not going to see Altamise in a partner's social media community management. They're going to see the brand. They're going to see the partner. So it's really important that we take some time to like talk about brand, voice, and tone. And then sometimes, you know, as the owner of the company, it's important for you to think about what that is, right? If you are the face of the brand, That may mean, you may need to adjust in terms of like, okay, should it just be me communicating? And if not, how can I make it more inclusive to where I can have support and it's not just me? So for example, when we work with influencers, that they are indeed the face of their brand, and people know that if they're going to an influencer we work with is Elaine Fluker. If they're going to Elaine's profile, that's Elaine because she's an influencer, right? But in messages, we got approval to say team support is sexy because that's her brand. So whenever we respond and it's not Elaine, we say, hey, thank you for reaching out. Team support is sexy here. We would love to support you, blah, 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 and then go into the answer. So people know like, oh, okay, even though this is her brand, she has a whole team. She has other people responding on her behalf. Great, fantastic. You can help, right? But you gotta have some type of structure around that and truly think about what that looks like and what that brand voice and tone will be, so that people can support you and we can be able to communicate on your behalf as the brand. And that's the thing too, when you are looking for someone to help with community management, there's a bit of psychology in that, where literally, when I write content, even with social media, when the team writes content for someone else, we listen to interviews over and over again. We find podcasts that they have been on. We literally listen to their voice as we're typing it out, because it decreases us as a person in terms of like how we would respond. And then it puts that person's thought process in as we're typing. And that's how we get really good with like messaging. Because if I'm listening to your voice and I hear you explain what your mission, vision, and values are, and I listen to it over and over again, eventually as I'm typing, what's going to come out is what you're saying. I'm just diving in it a little bit deeper, right? So think of those things. Voice notes are fantastic for a business owner, right? So like if you don't have the time to just sit down and type all this stuff out, do a voice note. Like voice note it out, record it, put it on Google Drive. That works too. So there are different things. All right, next slide. This has been great. Fantastic questions. Okay, so key takeaways, the things that I want to make sure everybody kind of keeps in the forefront when you are thinking about cultivating an engaged community on any of the platforms, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Remember that you are communicating to people. I literally just had a conversation with my operations director about this, as we were, drafting messaging for some DMs. You're talking to a person. So you want to make sure that it's a human to human interaction rather than speaking at someone. You're communicating with them. So people first, human to human marketing is where it's at right now. Prioritize creating a response matrix before you think you need it. If there is one place that we have to help our clients quite a bit, it is on the community management side. It's on that response matrix, because all of it lives in their brain. Everything is in their brain, but we can't read your mind. So we got to pull it out your brain to actually implement it in our strategies. So create that response matrix before you think you need it. Take that time. Prioritize engagement over building your following. And there's a reason, because if you prioritize engagement, those people will come. Not only will those people come, but the community that you already have will love you, will trust you, will like you, will advocate for you. So as the new people come in, if there's somebody in there that's a spammer, that's just there to just cause a mess in your post, it will actually be your advocates who will be like, actually, no, that's not what that means. Like that is what happens when you create and cultivate a community of engagement. with your people, and they stand up for you, they take up for you, and they advocate for your brand. So focus on that and the impact over the followers, okay? Be proactive with building your audience and communicate your expectations. Communicate. Do not expect them to just wait while you're handling customers in person. Tell them, hey, we are a brick and mortar. So we are currently working with customers in the store. Please allow us, X amount of time, and we will be sure to get back to you in a few minutes. Thank you, or a few days, or whatever aligns with you, but communicate that out. And on the other slide, I don't want to glaze over this. We talked about hashtags. Hashtags are living, breathing content lanes, guys. So when you add hashtags to your posts, click them, engage with them. And there's a toggle between, like, if you click a hashtag, you'll see like all of the top posts for that hashtag will filter up. But then there's also a tab that says most recent. If you click most recent, it will show you the latest posts that have used that hashtag. Chances are, if the latest post was like 13 minutes ago, that person is still online. That person is still on their phone, and they're probably engaged. So if you like it and you leave a comment and you say, hey, this is awesome content. Oops, sorry. Hey, this is awesome content, and I love what you're doing. Keep it up. They're going to see it. And if they see it, they're going to get curious, because human beings are very curious. So they're going to say, who is this? And then they're going to go to your profile. They're going to look at some of your pictures. They're going to like some. Like, that's how that proactive relationship evolves. And it's awesome. But you got to click those hashtags. You got to engage with them. And beyond community management, click them just to see what type of content is connected to the hashtags. You'll be surprised, or maybe not, but you might be surprised to see certain topics, certain conversations, certain posts connected to certain hashtags, and then you would decide, I may not want to use that for my brand. Check them out. And then you can also follow on Instagram. You can follow hashtags. So that way, anyone who posts for that hashtag, it'll actually show up in your feed, and you don't have to do the whole search bar, search engine thing. You can just literally just look at your feed. And remember that it's all about relationship. It's what the social media platforms were created in the first place. So if you keep focus on relationship and why you started your company and why you're doing what you're doing, try not to get overwhelmed by it. It is a lot, but you got it. You've got this. And take it one step at a time. Don't look at the whole house. Look at the bricks, brick by brick. Focus on the bricks. And then, eventually you'll look back and you'll see how far you've come, and you'll see a really beautiful structure that is your social media presence on the various platforms. So just take it one day at a time. And I see another question. So on strategy for a single purchase luxury product. Okay, that's ticket price. Okay, smaller ticket items that are repeat purchases. How does engagement strategy change, or does it remain the same? It does change. And the reason being is because of the average ticket price. So with your average ticket price, usually, like, if your services, like, people, low ticket items, people are quick to do an impulse buy. Super quick to do an impulse buy. The higher that ticket price, the more nurturing you have to do, the more lead time you have to do. We honestly have had clients that have followed our social media for about a year. Literally, we're finalizing an agreement with someone right now. They have been kind of watching us for over a year. And we have been nurturing that relationship. We've had probably 2 or 3 discovery calls with them, just talking them through it, letting them know what it's about and how to work with an agency versus a consultant versus a freelancer, all of that. And they have been watching us. And because we've nurtured that relationship and we've been patient in their process, they're going to be a client beginning July. So the higher the ticket price, the more nurturing you do, because the person has to like you, know you, and trust you to give you money. So it's okay. Just be patient. Just work at it. Continue to give them that insight. Continue to work through it. Ads, the higher the ticket price, the more important it is to just allow the ads to run and do retargeting. The more you retarget, the more the customer becomes familiar with your content. The more they see your content, the more likely they are to convert. But the higher that ticket price is, you're gonna have to be a little more patient. And then I'd also say, and you did mention smaller ticket items. That is fantastic. Create smaller ticket items that can be a part of your funnel. It could be a part of them experiencing the brand in a very special, unique way that pulls them in to say, oh, okay, this is really cool. And they will make a higher level investment because they've been with you and they've experienced your brand in some type of way. Definitely do that. And I would even say, like, people shy away from like doing free things or giving little freebies here and there. Do that. Because I promise you, people, for certain brands that I've worked with in the past that are larger brands, they literally have a swag budget that they just give the social media team. And they say, hey, we have about $1,000, just surprise and delight, right? And with the $1,000, we may get like little gift cards. We've done $5 Starbucks cards, like gift cards, like that kind of thing. And literally just random. Because if you put any structure to it, it creates a giveaway. With giveaways, it's a whole different beast. You need like terms and conditions and all that stuff. But if it's totally random, you don't need that. So we literally would give like $5 gift cards. Say, hey, we just appreciate you. Thank you for being a fan. That $5 has created some of the best advocates for that specific brand. The people are like, what? And it's $5, but they're just like, oh my God. And anything with like coffee or anything, like, people appreciate it. And it's very thoughtful. So like, find different ways to like infuse surprise and delight into your brand that just pulls people in. And as it pulls people in, you nurture that relationship. And as you nurture that relationship, it makes the sales soft and squishy and yummy, to where like by the time you're like having that sales conversation, everybody's like, yes, I'm in, I already know you, I like you, let's buy. And then you got a client, you got a customer. So, and I think that's all for me.
Can you,
Ellen, is that the last slide?
You can, yeah, that's all from you. If you want to answer those last 2 questions.
Yes. Okay. So is there a limit to how many social media platforms should a business use? There are so many. No, there are no limits. However, we always recommend you reserve your handle everywhere. Reserve it everywhere. I don't care if you don't plan to use that platform. Reserve it everywhere. There's a reason why Cartoon Network on Instagram is Cartoon Network Official. By the time we had to convince them that there was a presence needed on Instagram, it was a little too late. Someone had gotten the Cartoon Network handle. And then they came back to us and was like, you want it? You can have it for this amount of money. Literally, that's how it felt. That's literally how it felt. So they were like, we don't want to buy the handle. What do we do? So the Cartoon Network is Cartoon Network Official, because they waited. Reserve your handles, even if you don't plan to be on that platform. Find your people, because your people are going to gravitate to one platform more than the other, or more than others. Find where they are, active listening, see who, like, where you get the most engagement and all of that stuff. Once you figure that out, lean into that social media platform. Do the most on that social media platform. Maintain everything else. Maintaining everything else looks like keeping, like, doing cross promotion and just sharing the post to the other platform. So for example, for Instagram, if Instagram is your main bread and butter and you get all your engagement on Instagram, keep the lights on. Maintain Facebook, right? Keep an eye out on it, because you might be surprised the type of customers you have on that side, right? But maintain it, but reserve everywhere instantly. Don't wait. You have a business idea, reserve those handles. See if those handles exist. If they are available, take them. Take them and just hold on to them. Hold on to them. Okay, I see we are having a crisis where our 25-letter business name. Yeah. Okay. So we actually had a client that had a similar thing because the name of the organization is really long. Like if you put it together, it's really long. So we had to kind of think outside the box in terms of like, what do we stand for? So like the nonprofit is, it's called Compassionate Transformation Community. Imagine that, right? That's a long handle. Doesn't work. So we decided to go with Love CTC. That's the handle, Love CTC. So find like something that's connected to your values, something that is really important, or what people would think about when they think about your brand and the name, and then use that, right? And if you do that, I highly encourage you make it the same across the board. It keeps it simple. People don't remember things, they forget things, especially if it's something that's not a part of their like life and their family and their things. And if it's a business, they're not even trying to remember. You know what I'm saying? So like make it super duper simple, but catchy and like just clear, concise. So then also on social media, it's the same everywhere. But then when you start to do PR and you start to do press and you have interviews and people say, how can we find you? You don't have to go, well, we're this name on Facebook and we're this name on Instagram and we're this name on, you don't have to do that. You can just say, hey, we are handle everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. And it clears it up so well. So think about like something you can condense it to or acronym or something like that. And yeah, and that'll definitely help. I hope that was helpful.
Yes, Altamise, everything was great. Let's see, there's one more. Yes, makes sense. Perfect. Perfect. So let me go back. Sorry. Altamise will be back in the fall in September and November, and you will receive the links to register those along with the presentation today. So she is fabulous, and I definitely recommend coming back for those. And then we're continuing our QuickBooks workshop in the fall as well. And we also have a series on intellectual property protection. Be back in the fall as well for that, as also with Doug Lineberry. And then our veteran series will pick up August the 29th. And then we start our nonprofit series, which Altamise will be back for that as well. But we start that in September the 26th. And if you need a mentor, please, you'll go to the website and you can request one, and all is confidential. We're also looking for volunteers. We need business mentors. We need Spanish speaking business mentors desperately. And we're looking for workshop presenters, moderators, Zoom operators, behind the scenes administrative support. And then follow us on social media. And then we are powered by the SBA. Everybody have a fabulous Thursday. And we appreciate you joining us today. Have a great day.